do you say there, you bunch of nepo babies? Well, alright, we're back in the month of November. You know what that means.
Pass the cranberry sauce. We're having mashed potatoes. Oh, the turkey looks great.
That's right, Thanksgiving is coming up. And with this holiday that focuses so much on family and togetherness, I can't help but think of the famous families of cinema. Now sure, I think I speak for most of us when I say that nepotism in Hollywood can be annoying. Kids getting big roles just because of name recognition, well-connected families rubbing elbows with the studios, all while lesser-known artists are trying to get their names out there. It can be discouraging. But, as I said in my video about silent movies, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. A lot of these families grow up around the craft, watching their parents on set, and go on to develop their own talents. I mean shoot, Daniel Day-Lewis just starred in and co-wrote a new movie with his director's son. Anyway, I thought this would be a good opportunity to take a look back at some of the great Hollywood nepo families. These are families that, sure, have a lot of members who got their start because of who their parents were, but by and large have proven talent in their own right. Obviously, you got the Fondas and the Cusacks, absolutely legendary, and for my own generation, big family names include the Culkins, the Wayans, and the Smiths. But for me, there are a few Hollywood families that stick out more than others that I think deserve a special shout out. And since Halloween was just last month, who else could I start with than the Curtis and Lee family? Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh were a Hollywood power couple whose love story spanned Aw shucks. Well, the two seemed to remain in good graces together and had two daughters who made it into show business themselves. Most notably, of course, would be the great Jamie Lee Curtis. Now, you know I love Jamie for her history in the horror genre, but after those early beginnings, she made her way into comedies, thrillers, and a bunch of movies that crossed genres. And where, you might ask, did she pick up her talents? Why, from her dear mom and dad, Janet Leigh and Tony Curtis. The obvious connection that everyone makes is that Mom Janet Leigh starred in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, setting up the clear slasher comparison. In fact, the mother and daughter even shared screen time together in a few such projects. However, Janet also had a great history on the silver screen outside of horror, including 5 movies with the man himself, Tony Curtis. The first, and most interesting for me, would have to be Houdini, where Tony played the legendary escape artist. But again, he also had a wide-ranging, eclectic career with other legends. This included comedies like Some Like It Hot alongside Marilyn Monroe and Jack Lemmon, as well as historical epics like Spartacus, with Laurence Olivier, Charles Lawton, and Spartacus himself, Kirk Douglas, y'all.
I'm Spartacus! I'm Spartacus!
Perfect segue, baby. So yeah, let's talk a bit about the Douglas family. Now, the most notable members would be Kirk and his son Michael, though Michael's son Cameron has done some work too. And of course, Michael is married to another star, Catherine Zeta-Jones. And once again, we have family members starring in movies across decades and across genres. I mean, come on. The Colonel from Paths of Glory has a son who appears in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, who's married to Velma Kelly from Chicago. That's pretty freaking amazing. Oh snap! I also just remembered that Michael played Gordon Gekko in Wall Street, alongside yet another father-son duo, Martin and Charlie Sheen. Holy crap, this video is a rabbit hole. Okay, I'm just gonna move on to the next family. And you know what? Those last two mostly consisted of parents and children. But how about a Hollywood family that spans much more than that? Perhaps very much more than that. But very much more. I'm talking about the Barrymores. Yeah, you want a family that spans generations? Look no further, friends. Today, most people are aware of Drew Barrymore, known for a wide array of genres, all the way from early childhood and into adulthood. Go back one generation, and we've got Father John Drew Barrymore, who had a good array of genres, but was really big in westerns and the noir films of the 50s and 60s. And if we go back one more generation before then, we've got dear old dad John Barrymore, whose career spanned between the silent era, playing famous literary characters like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, as well as Sherlock Holmes, and into the early talkies, starring in an early adaptation of Romeo and Juliet, and playing the goofball scientist in the comedy The Invisible Woman. And within this same generation, we've got sister Ethel Barrymore, who starred in The Story of Three Loves with, oh look, Kirk Douglas again. We've also got brother Lionel Barrymore, who played the iconic and despicable Mr. Potter in It's a Wonderful Life. And heck, we can go even further back if we want. The grandmother of these three, Louisa Lane Drew, was actually a stage actress. Huh, I wonder if she ever appeared with any famous actors of her era. Oh! Yikes. Well, anyway, I've mostly focused on Hollywood families that consist of actors only. So to close out, how about a family with talent on both sides of the camera? Francis Ford Coppola is one of the great directors of his era, along with Spielberg and Scorsese. But Coppola is the one with the family that really branches out. Now everyone likes to point out Nicolas Cage being his nephew. Yeah, cue the bees meme, by the way.
Not the bees! Ah! Open up my eyes! Ah!
That's right, you mentioned Nick Cage and you gotta show the bees meme. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. But anyway, people have also noted that Francis's daughter Sophia, though not the best actress, is a fine director in her own right. And his son Roman is also a filmmaker, with a lot of interest in stage magic. So he actually helped a lot with the practical, in-camera effects for his dad's adaptation of Dracula. But actually, here's something I learned just a few years ago. Did you know Talia Shire is Francis Ford Coppola's sister? I told my friend about that and he had no idea either. And then, shortly after that, I learned that Jason Schwartzman is Talia Shire's son. All this to say, I'm just constantly astonished by how far the Coppola empire runs through the industry. And with the many layers of talent and craftsmanship that they and so many other Hollywood families offer, I'd have to argue that maybe nepotism isn't as awful as many of us think. Again, I wish nothing but the best for all the newcomers trying to make names for themselves. But with so many people growing up around the field, I think those families I mentioned, along with many others, go to show that family legacy and show business can be advantageous not only for the families themselves, but to the viewing public as well. So with that, I'll toss it to you. Who are some of your favorite families of Hollywood? And what are your thoughts on nepotism in the industry as a whole? Let me know in the comments. I've been Kenny Steps. Take it easy. And keep stepping into the movies.